Okay, quick update for anyone who's not been around since the start of the stream. What exactly is going on here? Well, France are 1-0 up against England because Juicy beat Gom in their matchup. Now both teams have blind picked a second player, and that's what's about to go down on stream. It's going to be Mawkzy versus Toxiic. Best of 5. Can France put themselves 2-0 ahead in the series, 2-0 up in the series? Or will England fight back? They've got the matchup they wanted. They've got Toxiic against Mawkzy. Job wouldn't be done there though. Obviously, if Toxiic beats Mawkzy and then Monkey Moon beats Revzy, Toxiic will need to then beat Juicy and Monkey Moon in back-to-back series to take the series for England all by himself. So this is, this is far from over. France are still in a great position. Obviously, they're in a great position when they got Mawkzy on the field in any matchup. Even his nemesis Toxiic doesn't find it too easy playing against him. Let's see. How's it going to go? With everything on the line, with the national pride on the line. Thank you, by the way, to King Slayer Gold for the brand new Prime and a Devian for the 2-month Prime. Welcome and welcome back, respectively. Well, one thing we can always be sure of when Toxic's playing is that he's going to have some of the best kickoff mix-ups in the game. He's surprised Mawkzy with a big inside win there. Mawkzy trying to push it around the outside. Of course, Mawkzy's going to counter or switch it up by playing for the wave dash recovery. Doesn't want to lose same kickoff twice, but he's left the ball and he will lose a second goal as a result. I mean, that 50-50 was definitely not safe. It's so tempting to run into the back corner for the boost there, but very dangerous to do so because that ball's bouncing off the back wall pretty far away from the back wall. Into a position Toxiic can definitely play with. Toxiic fakes the shot, plays for the boost, and it looks like he's the one who's misplayed by running to the back corner boost now. As Mawkzy anticipates it and shoots from distance. If you want to donate to the prize pool, you got to scroll down and there's a donate button underneath my stream. It might be, I'm not sure if it's there if you're watching on mobile, but you might need to go watch on PC to have access to it. I'm not 100% sure. When does the match Daniel versus Mawkzy start? Is there a Daniel Mawkzy match today? I wasn't aware of anything happening today between those two. Maybe there is at some point. It's a good start for Mawkzy. He's conceded a kickoff goal. Oh well, he's conceded another one here. Well, I was going to say it's a good start for Mawkzy. He's conceded a kickoff goal, but managed to navigate his way back into a lead. Before I could finish that sentence, he failed to take the ball to his back corner. Toxiic was in the area to slot yet another open net. So 3 very quick goals off the kickoff from Toxiic. Now Mawkzy's trying to snipe the bottom corner as Toxiic half flips. Toxiic easily gets back to take the ball for himself once again. Are any North American players still in Europe? Not that I'm aware of, unless, well, of course, if you count Nolly and Appjack as North American players, yes. The way that I think about it is that Jack and Nolly are European players because I mean that's where they're from, but they're playing for a North American team. I don't know if that's a fair way to think about it, but that's how I usually explain it. Same way that you've got South American players playing for North American teams. That's what I'm going with personally to differentiate them from North American players themselves. Is Turbopulse at NA or EU? Well, Turbopulse is a European player playing in North America as well for a North American team, so the team's an NA team, that's for sure. When they win an event, when they put points on the board at the event, they're getting work done for North America, not for Europe. But they themselves, unless they become dual nationals at the moment, are European players. Unlike famous dual nationality players like Jesse, who is at the same time, I mean, Jesse really is the man to unite the regions and the only man who can put an end to EU versus NA. Well, that's a phenomenal flick from the only man we come to expect flick perfection from these days. Look at the placement from this one from Mawkzy. Yeah, absolutely no angle in the run-up, but he still snipes the corner. But yeah, of course, I'm talking about Jesse, who has a Canadian passport, so he is the only man who can end the EU-NA rivalry. The day Jesse wins a LAN, we all win a LAN. Yeah, Jesse does look a lot like Oli. It's kind of funny that from the side especially, they do look very similar. I would love to see Oli adopt the Jesse slams into his LAN play. Next time we see him at a LAN, he better be slamming the desk in honor of Jesse. Even if he does it for a celebration, I'm cool with it, as long as he does it for some reason. Is there any chance we could see Ahmad versus Ahmad? A 7-Mad versus Ahmad? I don't know what on earth I'm going to call them both if we do have Ahmad versus Ahmad. Do they pronounce Ahmad any differently in Iraq from Saudi Arabia? If they've got different pronunciations, maybe it will be doable. Beautiful tie game goal from Mawkzy. Ahmad and A7, yeah, we might have to just call him A7. Even though we all know it means Ahmad. Maybe not all of us, but a lot of us do know that. Saved by Mawkzy. Initially out of position. It gets back to the play. Looks like they both had the same play in mind there. Mawkzy trying to cut in for a demo. Toxiic just cutting at a bit of a sharper angle. That's a play we can all relate to. How many of you, type 1 in chat if you get demoed every time you try and demo someone in ranked? I certainly do. It's a consistent problem of mine. Mawkzy comes away with the ball after 2 consecutive 50-50s. Move very little distance. Toxiic did have boost in this position, but you can see that flip just took him away from the play. It might have made more sense to flip diagonally there into the ball, to kind of roll with it instead of moving away from it. Of course, he didn't want to move away like that, but that's exactly what's happened. I'd love to get a 7 on my stream. Ahmad 7. We should maybe just call him Ahmad 7. Ahmad and Ahmad 7. I'd love to get him on the stream, but he's been busy every time I've asked him. Hopefully soon. Of course, it would make more sense if his name was Ahmad 2, but he does have a 7 in his name. We're not calling him Ahmad. I don't think they call Ahmad's Ahmad in Iraq either. So, as far as I'm aware, that is only a mispronunciation. Tie game. Toxiic and Mawkzy on a knife edge. I don't think France will feel safe if Mawkzy loses this matchup. Toxiic definitely capable of running the gauntlet, carrying England to victory. Of course, we shouldn't be writing off Revzy, who's going to be playing against Monkey Moon in the next series after this. If Toxiic beats Mawkzy, Revzy can give England the edge by eliminating Monkey Moon, and then it would be Juicy who needs to do the impossible and carry France to the next round of the competition. Ahmad and B-Mad. B-Mad's not a bad name, actually, because that's what he'd be trying to do to his opponents, of course. Toxiic missed an open net there. I don't think he's going to mind too much, though. He's got Mawkzy in a real bind. Oh, this is frustrating for Mawkzy. Toxiic just ran away with the ball. Well, what's Mawkzy going to do in this position? He's thinking about a demo, but I think Toxic's far too aware of that for it to work. Does he get the ball to bounce up? Not even. Toxiic wins game 1. It's just yet another chapter in the Mawkzy Toxiic story that goes the way of the Englishman. Heroic display. Where does Mawkzy go from here? He's had so many games, so many series to try and figure Toxiic out and to try and stabilize in a matchup that has to be getting to his mental at this point, but he just hasn't figured out a way to be consistent in this one. But what an interesting series this becomes if Toxiic can take down Mawkzy once again. Mawkzy, but you know, I had him in my top 6 in my tier list recently. I was, you know, pretty criticized for that, actually. A lot of people thought that he should be higher. But it's because of matchups like this that I can't put Mawkzy higher than that. He's probably the player inside the top 6 who has the most losses. In fact, he is the player inside the top 6 who has the most losses to players outside of the top 10. And Toxic's been the culprit for a lot of those losses. He just feels so confident in this matchup. He feels like he can read Mawkzy so well. He feels like his style just works so well against Mawkzy as well. Mawkzy is just down in the dumps once again. 1-0 down in game score, 1-0 down in game 2. Toxiic just looks so comfortable. He's got so much time on the ball. He's up by 2 again. This is so dangerous for Mawkzy. He needs to stabilize. Toxiic was in my top 25. I believe I had him something in the 15th range or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I definitely had him in there. Something like 13th to 17th, if I remember correctly. He lost 4-0 to Jarius in the grand final of my recent Pro Drops tournament. If he'd won that, you know, he'd be pushing top 10, that's for sure. 14th? Thank you, chat. 14th. I had him 14th. So yeah, he'd be pushing top 10 if he beat Jarius there, but he didn't, so so he's not. It really is that simple. It's very close at the top of ones. Toxiic doing so much damage to Mawkzy's chances here. Mawkzy just can't get out of his half. He can't get into a good rhythm. Toxiic's pulling in shots at him from left and right. He's just caught Mawkzy out of position once again. 3-0. Toxiic has got Mawkzy's number. Did Mawkzy come into this one with the wrong mentality? I mean, you can all have your own take on that, but there's no question about it. He did not want this matchup. He didn't want to play Toxiic again. He was really hoping that Monkeyman would do the job for him. But he's the one who's got to do it. And, you know, he might have started off with the wrong mentality. He might have thought to himself, well, I'm trying to avoid this. Now he's got the matchup he's trying to avoid. And, you know, maybe it would have been better to tell himself, no, today's the day. I want that matchup. I want Toxiic. Give him to me when it's all on the line. When national pride is on the line. Why should a Frenchman be afraid of an Englishman? Great little cut-in field for Mawkzy. Brings him back within 1. Toxiic beat into his back corner boost. Mawkzy has another strong position. Toxiic's chipped it over him. He's done very well for himself there, actually. That caught Mawkzy by surprise, but Mawkzy's not going to be too sad. Never is when he's got the ball on top of his head, dribbling at his opponent. Toxiic's boost management is splendid. There's absolutely no denying his decision-making either. Mawkzy expected Toxiic to fly at him with an air dribble or maybe an air dribble bump, but Toxiic predicted or just spotted Mawkzy retreating. Easily chipped the ball over his head. The Falcons players aren't participating for 3 different reasons, actually. Ahmad wanted to play, but his internet is messing up his connection to EU right now. He has a particularly bad connection to Europe at the moment because of some internet service provider issues. TRK is sick after the major. He got pretty sick, so he's still recovering. He's not playing Rocket League at all. He's trying to just recover from something he caught at the LAN. And Khaled is taking a break after the LAN, so yeah, 3 different reasons that the 3 different Falcon players aren't playing. Luckily for Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, the plethora of talent is immense. And there's still a very, very strong KSA A team there, featuring Naupo, Rawas, and Clears. Just over 2 minutes remaining in the marquee match of the day. French captain against the English captain. Toxiic has got the captain's armband, or is it the captain's, I don't know what it would be in Rocket League. Captain's decal. He doesn't have a decal on. Captain's wheels. You guys can decide, but whatever it is, he's got it because Appjack is not available. Otherwise, England, I think, would have been in a very good position to win this series. I think probably been the favourites to win this series if they had Appjack, but I think they're underdogs. I think they're underdogs without him. 1 goal in it. Mawkzy has done exactly what he needed to do in this match, and that's stabilize. Try and stop the goals that he's leaking. Oh, that's just so close, but so far inside of the post. Keeps Toxiic in front. Mawkzy trying to get Toxiic to jump into the air there. He's managed to dodge a demo and wave dash into bump on Toxiic as Toxiic rotates back out. This is a great position for Mawkzy. Shot's there for him. Toxic pre-jumps to save it. He's closed the distance well. Great judgment by Toxic, noticing that he could get to the ball before Mawkzy could move it dangerously away from him. But now here comes Mawkzy again. The flick is available. For once, it's not a zinger. Just over a minute left. Still Mawkzy on the ball, but Toxic looks like he's not going to be interested in backing down from that position. His bump's done nothing though. Mawkzy's shot from distance forces Toxic into the air once again. Mawkzy taking a scenic route to the goal on this play. He still has such a boost advantage that he can afford to do that, but he's flicked the ball wide. Toxic knows that that's not hitting the target. This one is though, and Toxic didn't reposition in time. All fours on the clock. Mawkzy brings it back. Where do I think Vatira would rank if he applied himself to ones? I think he'd be top 5 definitely. I think honestly Vatira Exotic would probably be the 2 players I'd pick to round out the top 5 right now for French 1v1, because I've not seen Alpha or Fairy Peak play. I've not seen Alpha play recently, and I think Fairy Peak played in D7's 1v1 tournament and lost every match he played, so Fairy Peak level is not the best right now. Oh dear, Mawkzy just, every time he gets a glimmer of hope, Toxic extinguishes it at the very next opportunity. I mean, how on earth are you supposed to save that? It's such a great controlling play by Toxic to just guide the ball into the roof of the net. He makes it look so easy there, but a lot of players would hit the bar in excitement by accident. A lot of players would just leave the ball in a position their opponent can collect, but not Toxic. He's put himself in front again, fakes the challenge, as he left himself with 2 little boosts. Indeed he has. And Mawkzy's shot was sufficient. Toxic missed the mid boost, and Mawkzy, I think, spotted that, shot immediately and equalized. But can he get a kickoff win? It looks like this time he will. Toxic tried to delay and it did not work out, but Mawkzy's rush to get the ball into the middle has not put him in an easy position. He deals with it anyway. What a catch to win on 0 seconds. I mean, this was not a simple one. Toxic cleared. Mawkzy immediately noticed where the ball was going to be landing and collected it for the 1-goal winner. France are back in control. Mawkzy's back in control. Can he build on this? Can he keep that control? Or will Toxic wrestle it right back? It just doesn't look comfortable for Mawkzy at any moment in this match. It took Toxic narrowly mishitting a clear there to give him the win. Otherwise, overtime was likely. I'm not going to try and read out what Monkey Moon and Juicy are typing in French in our Steam group chat here, because I think they might be discussing strategy. I don't want to leak anything. I will say, the one word I do understand is kickoff. So you guys can guess what on earth they might be talking about when they say kickoff in a Mawkzy Toxic matchup. Loving this new pinch technique that Mawkzy's using. The advantage it gives him is it's got a very, very natural recovery path compared to the more standard methods where you're landing either face onto the wall or upside down on the wall, even side onto the wall. Mawkzy just has a faster landing. Oh my goodness, what a flick. He doesn't even need boost to pull these out of the bag. Undefendable. Now Toxic might be able to match Mawkzy on occasion for flick power, but the consistency is just Mawkzy's through and through. I mean, the ability to just pull these out of the bag whenever he needs them, second to none at the moment. Mawkzy's fake Toxic off the ball. Once again, launches a flick high into the roof of the net. And even though Toxic's kept that one out, it's still not a good position for him. Mawkzy collects the back corner boost, picks up another ball, and oh my goodness, has Toxic saved this? What a save by Toxic. I was about to say and scores again, but Toxic somehow manages to knock the ball into his own crossbar and get back to it. But look at Mawkzy's flicks. I mean, this is just ridiculous. You can only save so many. Mawkzy jumps into a perfect flick and leaves absolutely nothing to chance on that one. Cash was being called the cannon at the Fall Major, but in the one scene, another player is taking that title. Mawkzy has completely wrestled control. Well, he almost made a meal of that, but his flip reset doubled on the open net. Just to send a message. Was that necessary? Absolutely not, but did it look cool? I'll give him that. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and take the cannon away from Cash. That's a brilliant nickname for him. Obviously, it's his last name, if you're wondering. Why is Cash called the Cannon? It's because his real name is Curtis Cannon. Really, really cool name for a Rocket League player, but what do we call Mawkzy? Is he the trebuchet? Is trebuchet a French word? It sounds like a French word. The trebuchet. Is it French? Oh, it is. That's awesome. All right, I guess that settles it. The trebuchet it is then. Phenomenal. Phenomenal by Toxiic. That's a great response. It's been all Mawkzy in game 3. Toxiic makes him look pretty silly on that play. A magnificent mind game. No shot, Mawkzy's last name is Trebuchet. No, we're not saying his name is Trebuchet. We're saying his nickname is Trebuchet. I don't think his last name is Trebuchet. That would be truly scripted if his real name was Trebuchet. I don't think Trebuchet is a last name, but I might be mistaken. That's a nice flick by Toxiic. He's coming back here. It's almost inevitable that we're going to see a tense ending to the match, isn't it? Poor Mawkzy just can't catch a break with this guy. It's side. And it's another kickoff goal for Toxiic. Mawkzy once again. It's the same as game 1. He tries to push the ball through Toxiic on the outside, but Toxiic just drills it down the middle, and that ends up winning. I mean, when you see those two kickoffs match up against each other, only one thing is certain. And that's the guy on the inside's going to dominate. So I feel like Mawkzy's got to stop going for that one. But full credit to Toxiic for expecting it and countering it at the right times. Mawkzy now back in front. Both players wave dash. Toxic's back to the ball quicker though. And once again ties the game with a kickoff goal. I think Mawkzy might have tried to wave dash into a bump there on Toxiic, but that just spurred him away from the ball. You'll notice there that when Toxiic is himself trying to push the ball around the outside in the kickoff, he's using the wave dash recovery. But Mawkzy didn't do that. Mawkzy actually flipped into the ball. When you flip into the ball, you actually generate a ton more power than when you just single jump into it and keep your flip for the wave dash recovery. That's probably something Mawkzy will need to utilize in his own kickoff game. If he wants to stop conceding. Oh, he's completely mind game Toxiic on that play. I said Toxiic made Mawkzy look pretty silly earlier on. Mawkzy's made Toxiic look even more silly on that play. Not sure why Toxiic flipped to the left though. It looked like he could have probably just flipped to the right and covered the shots and the fake with the same play. That's why it's so important to approach the ball from the opposite of your goal, or from goal side I should say, in defense. Because if you do get faked, or if your opponent tries to fake you, you're probably going to save or at least get a touch on the ball and not fly right by it like Toxiic did there. A couple of people asking what's the matchup tomorrow, by the way. It's just France-England today. Tomorrow we're going to have the Saudi Arabia A team taking on the USA B team. So that will be a really, really interesting matchup. We've got Naupo Colliers and Rawas against Chronic Evo and Flitz. Toxiic buries another one. It's a simple reset for him, but Mawkzy's not able to stop it. Mawkzy he's hesitating. He's definitely hesitating in defense. Toxic's faked him enough in this matchup to make Mawkzy think twice about diving in, and that's a great shot off the kickoff. Toxiic slots it for 6-5. Mawkzy just a bit too far on the right side of the ball there, allowed Toxiic to beat him. If Mawkzy was more on the inside of the ball, he would have crushed Toxiic on that kickoff, but his execution was slightly lackluster. And these small margins for error can make a big difference in 1v1. And there's another mistake. Toxiic accidentally misses, and that's brilliant by Mawkzy. He just puts himself in the line of fire, using Toxiic's bump to generate momentum. He knew that he was going to get beaten to the ball there. If he flipped, Toxiic was probably going to flip and demo him on his landing, so he just stayed where he was, and as soon as Toxiic flipped, Mawkzy went flying into the ball. He dodged to control the shot. Phenomenal awareness by Mawkzy. That's so high level to just not flip in that position, but is it going to be worth much? This time it is. No hesitation in defense, and now he gets going in the counter-attack. He's away with it, and up by one. Mawkzy, with a proactive defensive stand, stops Toxiic in his tracks. 13 seconds left. Can Toxiic dig out another kickoff goal? He's going on the outside this time. Looks like he's trying to switch things up, expecting Mawkzy to cover the inside goal that he already scored this game. Dribble for Toxiic. He's into the air with it, but once again, Mawkzy's quick to counter him, and the ball will bounce to put Mawkzy up 2-1 in the series. He's nearly there. And France are nearly there as well. England struggling, even with their best matchup here, but Mawkzy's just been so disciplined. A 0-second winner in game 2, and great resilience there to deny the comeback. There were many reasons in that game where Mawkzy could have been tilted, many moments he could have been tilted. He got mind-gamed a couple times, he conceded a couple of kickoff goals. Toxiic kept on knocking at the door. Whenever Mawkzy built a lead for himself, Toxiic closed it. Mawkzy just kept on chugging along, and with the help of a monstrous early game, he had enough firepower to get the job done. Yeah, you can see the 50 quid minimum donation for the tournament. I always have a 50 quid minimum donation for prize pools these days. Because if, like, the thing about, like, subbing, if somebody's got $5 to give to a streamer, subbing limits what they could, you know, it's a once a month thing. But for prize pools, like, I realize a lot of people who probably shouldn't be donating this much are just donating 5, 5, 5, 5. It's easy to donate more than you should when the donation number is low. But if you guys want me to be, I'll be completely transparent with you. The total amount of money that I've had donated to me and donated to prize pools through my stream has significantly decreased since I increased the minimum donation amount. But that was kind of what I was trying to achieve with that, because I don't think it's healthy for streamers to promote microtransactions, because as we all know, microtransactions, they can add up, and you don't realize when you're making them. I mean, I've done that myself plenty of times. You don't realize how many microtransactions you're actually posting until you go back and look. You're like, wait a minute, how on earth did I donate, 70 quid here? Because it's just a bunch of a bunch of fives. So that's why I did that. So I don't want people to who only have, people who shouldn't be donating to streamers who are making a lot of money in the first place, to be tempted to do it. But there are still, you can still sub if you want to support me directly, and you want to give back for the content. You can still do that by subbing. And yeah, cheers are still available as well. Just donations. I was like, right, yeah, there's too many £3 donations coming in from people who probably shouldn't be doing that at all. Tournament prize pools suffer a lot. You think it's possible? It's possible, but at the end of the day, I mean, when you look back at all of the big prize pools for tournaments, the bulk of the money comes in from the larger sums donated by individuals who can afford it. Oh dear, well, Mawkzy just missed an open net there. That's a horrendous open net miss as well. Will Toxiic punish him? Yes, he will. Air dribble bump is good. But yeah, like I was going to say, so prize pool donations, whenever we have big prize pools in the past, it's not because of, 100 or 200 $3 to $5 donations. It's usually because, people who have disposable income come and donate a lump sum. So that's why I thought, okay, let's just do that then, and not, have another channel for people who probably shouldn't be tempted to donate in that manner, to do that. Just too much, I figured it was too much, at least for me. I was like, I'm gonna change how this operates. That's just my opinion. That, you know, if other streamers want to do it differently, that's up to them. That's just how I decided to operate things. Sorry, I missed a message here. What was Joria saying in the chat? I was trying to catch it. It ran off the screen. The amount of Twitch subs I had opened last year made you depressed. Yeah, Joria, you know, you can't. I believe in most countries, subbing, if you are a Twitch streamer, subbing to another Twitch streamer, I think is tax deductible, because it counts as a payment to another self-employed contractor. So it's not the worst thing as a streamer to be subbing to lots of streamers, because I think it's tax deductible in most countries. So definitely look into that. Speaking of donation, thanks to Seek Up 08 for the £50 donation to the prize pool. I'm going to match that, so we're up to £200 prize pool already on day one. And White2834, thanks to the Prime. Whole Roasted Chicken, thanks to the Prime. Strikers Mojo, thanks to the 17-month Prime. Gagsy, thanks to the Prime as well. Appreciate all the resubs and the subs, guys. You're all far too kind. We've got as close of a match we could have hoped for today between a very storied matchup. Can Toxiic put us on Game 5? Mawkzy will probably consider this a Game 5 right now. His confidence is going to be very, very tested, shall we say, if this goes to Game 5 in a matchup against Toxiic. It's hard not to let doubt creep in that kind of position. Toxiic will be full of confidence if he can get there. And he's headed that way right now. Mawkzy thought he spotted an opening to make a little bit of a run for boost. I think he would have made more sense just picking up the small pads in the circle. Toxic's ground shot, more than enough from that distance. Great kickoff by Mawkzy though, he's right back on top of the ball. Toxiic grabs the back corner boost, gives Mawkzy a bit of space, and Mawkzy double jumps to pop him. 5-5. That was all about Mawkzy's quickness to get back to the ball. If he was a little bit slower with that recovery after the kickoff, Toxiic would have beaten him to the ball, but Mawkzy was just so pristine with his movement. Toxiic was kind of out of options there. Mawkzy with another strong position after the kickoff. He's jumped into the air early there. Didn't want to give Toxiic a chance to do that himself. The ball was closer to the Englishman. Mawkzy almost dashes back in the wrong position, but he's the player in control still. Trying to bait Toxiic into running away for a boost that he shouldn't grab. I think Toxic's found an opening to get one. Oh, indeed he has. No, he hasn't. Toxiic thought he could get back, but Mawkzy was right to do this. So this whole time, the reason Mawkzy's not flipping away to a boost is because he's waiting for Toxiic to do that, and then he's going to try and shoot. Toxiic thought that he waited long enough that he could get to the boost, get back to his goal, and save whatever shot Mawkzy makes, but Mawkzy just had enough power. Both players punishing each other. Rover extending out of position, but Toxiic cannot be denied with placement like that. 6-all. Mawkzy had most of the goal covered, and the top corner was not to be denied for Toxiic that time. 51 seconds to go. Toxiic pushes the ball through, or Mawkzy pushes it through. Toxiic, I should say, kept an eye on him as well. Tries to chip it over him. Toxiic identified that. Double jumps to counter. No boost steal though for Toxiic, who's landed poorly. Mawkzy scores, and you can see the frustration. Toxiic thought he had a good position there. In fact, he did have a good position, but he'll probably think that he got that boost. That was a very, very close fight for the boost in the back corner. Toxiic surely thought that he had it. Well, at least that's what I'm assuming based on the fact that he's throwing his camera around as Mawkzy scores what could be the winning goal. Toxiic running out of time. Well, he's got another great position for himself here. In fact, Mawkzy might have own goaled. Toxiic on the retreat. He'll score it just to make sure. Mawkzy trying to knock the ball into the back corner. Didn't realize Toxiic was about to move it, and it's ended up in the back of the net. 7-7. Toxiic. Just one more goal, and we have a Game 5. What a nightmare that would be for Mawkzy, who's decided to stay on the ball with low boost here. Toxic's completely crushed him, and he scores with just 9 seconds to go. Well, was that the right idea by Mawkzy? He decided to catch the ball. I think it's fine to stay on the ball there if he gets behind it, but he caught it, it bounced up, and that was an invitation. Toxiic did not need to see twice. Mawkzy delays the kickoff. He's going to shoot this one first time. Toxic's there for it though. Mawkzy has another bounce to play with. Oh, he thought he had two, but he didn't. And am I dumb, Mawkzy says in the chat. I don't know if that's referring to the fact that he thought the ball was going to bounce twice, or if he didn't realize he was actually trailing here. Probably the prior. Regardless, Toxiic confirms Game 5. And once, I've got to say, I think England are the favourites if Toxiic can eliminate Mawkzy here. Not by much, but I think they would be the favourites. It would be all up to Monkeyman and Juicy to get the job done without their star player. I think in other matchups later on in the tournament, if France can make it into the next round, Mawkzy will be the, you know, he'll be the haymaker for this team. He'll be the star player who could just sweep an entire team. But England specifically, the fact that England have managed to snipe Mawkzy with Toxiic has kind of left Mawkzy in a rough position. Marnik88, thanks to the 9-month tier 1 as well. Do Netherlands have a team? Well, Netherlands are part of a team. There's the Netherlands-Germany-Belgium alliance. Whoops, says Toxiic as he accidentally jumps over the ball. Mawkzy's going to rightfully score that, so I think that was just a double jump by mistake from Toxiic. Let's see what on earth he did here. Yeah, he double jumped by accident. Whoopsie, indeed. Yeah, Joria's Raziers and Atto are playing for a Central EU team. 3 countries that all share a border. You know, if I was going to keep this completely national, you know, he could have roped in Oli, and I don't know who the next best Dutch player would have been. But the main motivation for this tournament was I wanted to give the players, or as many of the players who I've just recently put in a top 25 list, a chance to play against each other. So that's why I decided to invite Central EU to the tournament. I'd love to see a true World Cup later on. That's quite a funny goal there for Mawkzy. I'd love to see a true World Cup, a true, like, fully Dutch team. Italy have also got a decent team as well. You know, if Astral makes a comeback to the one scene, I think Belgium could be competitive. Germany as well. If there are other ones players, I would want to give, like, if I'm going to make it a true World Cup, I'd want to give the players who don't actually play much ones time to practice. There was no time. I didn't have any. This was literally just, I thought of this yesterday, asked all the players if they wanted to do it, and boom, now it's happening. But we'll definitely try and make a true World Cup where, you know, nations are fully locked in the future, and I'll give players more of a heads up on it happening. Yeah, I'd love to do another draft tournament as well. That would be really cool. Oh, one final thought before this Game 5 gets too insane, because I did want to say one more thing. I didn't say at the end of the last game, so it was a very close Game 4. I wanted to say one more thing in the whole, like, donation button thing, and just very briefly finish off my thoughts on that topic. Yeah, one thing I think is important as a streamer, as a content creator, is to, like, adapt as you change in, well, as your channel, like, changes in size. I think it's easy as a, you know, small, you know, just getting started content creator who then grows into a full-time content creator, or in my case, a content creator with different things on the go. You know, I do casting for events, I do casting for RLCS, I do streaming, YouTube, lots of different things. You know, I think when you grow to a higher level, I think it's important to, like, change the way that you do things. Back in the day, I had a lot more incentives on screen for people to support the stream, because that was a large part of what I did. It was like probably half to more than half at sometimes, some months, of my personal income. But now it isn't. You know, these days, Twitch streaming is a much smaller part of my income, and I don't need it to be, you know, earning as much to support my life and to support, you know, everything I want to do as I used to. So that's why I've, like, changed things. I don't have you know, text-to-speech on anymore. I don't have, like, sometimes I have to just ignore alerts completely if we're too busy casting. You know, these kind of things. And that's why the prize pool, it kind of fell into that category. I was like, I'm going to change the way that I do this, because it doesn't need to be the way that it used to. It doesn't need to be the way that it used to be, essentially. Yeah, that's all I want to say. I think sometimes streamers forget that they've actually grown to a point that they don't need to do things the way that they used to, and they just kind of get stuck in a habit. They're like doing things like text-to-speech, doing things like Oh, that's a great goal by Toxiic. What's a recovery, by the way. But yeah, I think my advice to streamers who grow would be, you know, consider the fact that you have grown. You know, you should be treating your, you know, how much you push for subs, donations, and stuff. In my opinion, at least, and cheers, etc. You should be treating it differently than when you got started, when you were a growing streamer. If you're now earning like 5 figures a month from like big sponsorships and activations and such. But yeah, that's just my opinion. My opinion. Just wanted to get that out there, kind of finish off that topic and explain why I decided to make the changes I made. But yeah, also, speaking of prize pools, thanks to the £100 prize pool donation from Voted117. So, yeah, already at £400 prize pool for the event. As you might have figured out, just because I'm matching donations up to £1,250 doesn't mean that that's the cap of the prize pool. If you guys and anyone who watches the stream throughout the event decides to donate above that number, then that will be added to it as well. It's winner takes all. The winning team are going to take a third of the pot each, unless they decide to split it a different way. Yeah, that number is not... I'm not capping the prize pool at that moment. Anything that gets donated after that will still be added to the prize pool. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking anything over the top of that for myself. It will continue to go to the prize pool. Just want to make that clear. Depth, thanks to the 6-month prime as well. Really appreciate that. Oscar, ooh, thanks to the 11-month prime. Dingle LS2, thanks to the prime. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Oh, what is that? Oh no, Toxiic. Well, we did have another 1-goal game. Toxic's accidentally own goal. I think he was trying to dodge a demo. He didn't want to drive forward and leave himself in a position to get bumped by Mawkzy, but awkward position. Definitely an awkward position. Now, can Mawkzy get some kickoff goal revenge from earlier on? Yes, he can. Toxiic down by 3. It's a dream for Mawkzy. Christmas come early. If he can get a win against his nemesis, he will feel fantastic about France's chances closing out this series. Mawkzy would need to be the hero for England. An impossible task. He'd need to beat Monkey Moon, Mawkzy and Juicy in 3 consecutive best of 5s. And that's where we're headed. If Mawkzy can just hold on here. Toxiic really getting creative in the hunt for that demo. Minute to go, still 3 goals to find. That might be the first of them. Mawkzy runs out of steam. Toxiic punches it in, not quickly, but just enough pace in the shot. I can already anticipate, by the way, a lot of people saying, why is Johnny not casting these matches like play-by-play all the way through? Well, the reason is I'm going to be potentially casting 35 1v1s over the next 7 days. So we're slowing it down a little bit here. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We're in the second best of 5 in a row out of the second best of 5 out of a potential 5 today. So we're just making sure that we don't, burn out too quickly. Don't want to lose my voice here by just screaming into the microphone at the very start of the day. Toxiic still trailing. He's almost put himself in an accidentally brilliant position there. But this time, it's a bit more deliberate. Flip to work with. Mawkzy patiently waiting for the ball to bounce down into a much more favourable spot, and that could be it. Mawkzy up by 3 again. Toxiic was really hoping Mawkzy would panic in the closing seconds and lose control, but Mawkzy just kept his cool, and he finally gets a big tournament win over his rival Toxiic, who recently eliminated him from the Pro Drops Invitational. Toxiic trying to get something going at the end here. It wasn't technically over, but it is now. Mawkzy would need to miss the ball completely on the next kickoff for Toxiic to come back. So let's see if he can do it. Can he successfully make contact? Well, he played it very carefully there just to make sure, but GG's. Mawkzy in 5. France up 2-0. Yeah, you're not wrong. Job not finished. Only Mawkzy remains. But Monkey Moon can secure the sweep for France.